Okay, if we could take our seats, we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is a meeting of the Manitou Springs City Council. It's a regular meeting. It's for August 1st, 2023. So it's Colorado Day. Happy Colorado Day. 147 years. All right. Okay, we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
To the flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Elena, would you please call the roll?
Council members Natalie Johnson. Here. Judith Chandler,
Present.
John Shada, Julie Wolf,
Here.
Councilor Wolf, are you
I
present?
said here. I guess you can't hear me.
Councilor Wolf is attending by phone tonight. That's the plan anyway. Okay.
Councilor Wolf, can you hear us?
Oh, yes, you just unmuted me. Thank you. I'm here.
Where was I? Mayor Pro Tem Nancy Fortune
Present.
and Mayor Graham.
Present. Okay, thank you.
Councilor Weatherhutt.
Present.
Okay, thank you. Council, I would now ask for a motion to approve the agenda. I think you've all had a chance to review the agenda. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Elena, do you want us to vote electronically or by voice?
Go ahead, it should be ready for you.
Okay, all right. So I see it's ready. Okay, let's vote.
Councilor Wolf, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Okay.
Are you guys seeing? Did it blink for you?
Excuse me? Yeah, it's solid now. I vote yes.
Okay. 7-0.
Okay, thank you. Very good. The agenda is approved. Okay, the next item, item E, is public comment on non-agenda items. This is the part of the meeting where anyone in the public is welcome to address council on a non-agenda item. Do we have anyone who wants to speak to a non-agenda item? I guess not. We'll move along then. Next item is the consent calendar. We have 3 items. Councilor Chandler, you had contacted me and said you wanted to remove one item. I believe that was F1.
Yes, Mayor.
Okay, so we will discuss F1 separately. That leaves us with 2 items on consent calendar: the approval of the July 18, 2023 regular meeting minutes and approval of the July 25th, 2023 special meeting minutes. If there's any council person who'd like to discuss either of those separately, we can. If not, I would look for a motion to approve and accept those 2 items.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Motion is second. Let's vote.
Councilor Wolf, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Seven to 0 in favor.
Okay, great, thank you. So the consent calendar items F2 and 3 are approved. That leaves us with item 1F or F1, approval of the professional services agreement with Horde Copeland Mock for the Soda Springs Park Phase 2 construction drawings. Councilor Chandler, you had a concern, so we'll give you the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. 2 questions. And The first question is related to page 9 of 43. I also think that in the packet, it's page 1 of Exhibit A. And it's under basic scope of services, and it states, based on our project understanding, HCM proposes to provide the following. And one of the listed items was existing conditions of a survey, professional land survey and legal boundaries, site topography, and features and utilities. And then further on in the document on page 12 of 43, under assumptions, it states the following are assumptions and exclusions that relate to the proposed scope of services. And number 2 in the assumptions is excludes land survey services. So my first question is, does it or does it not include land survey services?
Good evening, Jillian Rossi, Parks and Recreation Director for the City of Manitou Springs. Judith, that's an excellent question. I have gone through this contract and I didn't notice that there was a contradicting piece in here. So I'm happy to get that answer for you, but at this point, I can't say for sure yes or no on that.
If we could look into that and get back to council. My second question is along those lines. It's also on page 9 of 43 under basic scope of services. It states site investigation, site observations and inventory of existing conditions. And again, on page 12 under assumptions, number 10, it says excludes investigating existing conditions or facilities. So I would appreciate some clarity. I also looked through the contract to see if there were line items to tease out what the budgeted amount is for those two things. And I couldn't, based on how it's lumped together under tasks, I couldn't figure that out either. So those were my two questions. And if you could get us clarification, I would vote to put this off until we have answers to those two questions, unless there's other questions.
Mr. Shada.
I believe the consultants had encouraged us to combine some projects, and I was just curious why we aren't combining this within the next phase that we've gone ahead and approved the funds for.
I believe this is combining parts of the next phase. So phase 2 is the playground construction, and it also involves part of the eastern construction of the property.
Okay.
So this does include, I believe, a good portion of the eastern construction drawings as well. I know the big focus here is the playground.
Okay. So all those things that we just reviewed, like in the last, month and a half or something like that, are
Yes.
those included in this?
Those are included.
Okay. Thank
Yes.
you for answering that.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. In light of Councillor Chandler's questions, perhaps I think a motion to postpone this item until we get these answers would be appropriate.
I move to postpone approval of this professional services agreement with Horde Copeland Mott until our questions are answered.
Second.
Okay, we motion second.
It has to be to a time certain, so maybe
no, it
for the
doesn't.
next 15th, doesn't it?
No,
So
it
the
doesn't
next-
have to.
For the next regular meeting, which would be on the 15th. Is that,
Or when we get the answers, Yeah.
yes, the 15th.
it's
Okay.
hopefully the 15th.
Would you like me to restate the motion?
If you'd like to, yeah, for clarity.
We'll so do. I move to hold approval of the professional services agreement with Horde Copeland Mott for the Soda Springs Park Phase 2 construction documents and drawings to a date certain of the next regular meeting of August 15th, 2023, pending answers to the questions I posed.
Second.
Can we motion a second? Open for discussion. Nancy?
Yeah, I was just wondering what impact it's going to have to, if any, to delay.
The delay will be just a couple of weeks until the next regular session and this gets approved.
Okay, so there's no impact on the contractor timing with weather or anything?
No.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, do we have any more discussion? Denise, do you have a comment?
Mayor, in the future, and these are great questions, appreciate you finding those. If we could get those early, then we can have those answers at the meeting and be able to answer those at the time and then try to get it approved. Delays anymore it can cost money. We hope that this doesn't, but as we know with supply chain, things change pretty quickly. So in the future, if there's questions, it would be great if we can get them early if possible, and then we can always have the answers, but great questions and thanks for catching those.
Okay, thank you, Denise. Any further discussion from council? If not, okay, we have a motion, a second. Let's go ahead and vote.
Counselor Wolf, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
We have 7-0 in favor.
Okay, great, thank you. So that item will be postponed presumably for 2 weeks while we get the answers.
Thank
Okay,
you.
great. That takes care of the consent calendar items. We move on to hearings, and we have 2 liquor license hearings tonight. We don't do this every meeting, so let me just quickly go over the basic format as to how we'll do this so that everybody has a grasp. The first step is the city clerk, who is our liquor licensing authority or agent, will present her report and indicate the posting, legal notice, and those sorts of things. The background check have been done appropriately. Secondly, the applicant in each case will present evidence in support of their application, including that the neighborhood has a need and a desire for the license and business. Third, there will be a period of public comment. Public comments are allowed to support or oppose the license application. And I'll go over the rules for public comment when we get to that section, that portion of the meeting. The next step, the applicant will be allowed to rebut or make closing comments. And then the final step will be the city clerk can make comments and it'll come to city council for decision. So that said, Judy, if you'd like to present the first item, the first hearing is for public hearing and consideration of an application for liquor license change of location, 718 Manitou Avenue, Colorado Culinary LLC, doing business as Toasted. Elisa Young, applicant.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. So our applicant tonight is Colorado Culinary LLC, doing business as Toasted. They have applied for a change of location, and that location is moving from 720 Manitou to 718 Manitou, which is directly next door. They have adjoining walls. Pursuant to the code, the liquor license establishment that desires a change of location must make application before the local licensing authority. And in making the decision as to whether to grant the application, the local licensing authority will consider several factors, including but not limited to reasonable requirements of the neighborhood and the desires of the adult inhabitants of the neighborhood, the possession of the licensee of the new premises by ownership, lease, rental, or other arrangements, and compliance with applicable zoning laws. So according to city procedures and state laws, public notice of the hearing must be posted and published. A notice must be conspicuously posted by the city clerk's office at the physical location of the premises, and the same information must be published in the city's newspaper of record. And I will discuss when those were done. I'm also required to provide an administrative report, which includes the status of the application, proper notice of public hearing, a report of physical inspection of the premises to be licensed, and a summary of the survey petition. The applicant will be provided the opportunity to respond and on any issues or concerns reported in my presentation, and the applicant should be prepared to provide evidence to support granting of the application. So let's see. Parties in interest are given an opportunity to also provide comment in the form of testimony, letters, or petitions. And we actually, for this particular one, we did receive an email, and that was in a positive light. So the status of the application, they did provide me with all the required documentation. I received the completed application, diagram of premises, proof of possession, and evidence of support. The notice of public hearing, the property was posted on June 29th with a notice published in the paper on July 14th, informing them of this public hearing, August 1st. And they had, the public had up until 5 p.m. on Thursday, July 27th to provide input regarding this application. And like I said, I did receive one email. On Thursday, the 27th, I received that email from, it was received in the morning from a Colleen Lopp in support of the change of location. And that was included in the materials provided to council. The physical inspection of the premises has not happened as yet because it is undergoing renovation, but I did put in there that the plan would be that I would do that inspection once it's in a position to where I can inspect it and actually see that things are where they say they're supposed to be. And then the evidence of support, the applicant submitted a petition indicating that 12 parties in interest were contacted, and all 12 indicated that they were in support of approval of this application. 6 of those were residents and 6 were business owners, managers. And so summarizing the petition results, the applicant made the following statement. She stated, with the unfortunate devastating fire to Toasted and the interruption of my business, I'm so grateful to have a new space available where we can continue to serve the Manitou community interests that make our business thrive. We love being a part of this community and are happy to call it home. I reviewed if there's any liquor code violations. There have been no reports of violations, and their liquor license is in current status. So in summary, I found all requirements for this change of location to be met with the exception of the results of the future physical inspection, which I would do, of the licensed premises. And my recommendation would be approval of the application contingent upon an acceptable physical inspection by my office.
Great. Thank you, Judy. Council, do we have any questions at this point for Judy? If not, okay. Thanks, Judy. Now I'd ask that the applicants come forward. Good evening. If you'll give us your name and address, please.
My home address or the business?
Actually, why don't your business address is fine.
78, well, Elisa Young, 718 Manitou Avenue, Manitou Springs.
Okay, great. Thank you. So you have the floor now. You're going to tell us why you want to have a liquor license in that place next door.
Well, when I opened Toasted last year, it exceeded my expectations. We were so well received by the community and tourists, and we just feel like we were able to provide for the community and call it home. And then on June 11th, we burned down. We got roasted. So we're not Toasted anymore. And we missing out on the season, we were devastated, and the space next door was available. The tenant had backed out, I guess. So we were lucky to be able to move next door and have a beautiful patio to go with it and continue to thrive.
Okay, thank you. And that may be sufficient for council's curiosity. I think maybe the most efficient thing now is just to ask council if they have any questions of the applicant. Okay, if not, we'll go ahead and I'll open up the public comments section of this.
Do I stay here?
Why don't you take your seat? You'll have an opportunity to come back.
Okay.
So I'll now open the public comment portion of this public hearing. This is the portion of the meeting when anyone can come forward and speak in favor of or against the application. Do we have anyone who would like to speak to this? Judy, I believe you said you had one email in favor of this that you already presented. So that was the only offline or online communication. If there's no interest, I'm going to close the public comment. Okay. Well, at this point, we could call the applicant back, but the real intent of that is to give the applicant a chance to rebut or to clarify things that occur during public comment. And it seems pointless to ask her to do that. But counsel, if we have any questions for the applicant, we'll just ask her to come forward. I think this is a fairly simple case. Okay, if not, thank you. The applicant will not be called back. Judy, do you have anything more? We don't. Okay, so now it falls to deliberation by council. Any discussion? I did close the public hearing. Sorry, this game. It's good to remind me. Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve this.
Okay, Mr. Shada has moved that we approve this. Do we have a second?
Second, does it need to be contingent on the final physical inspection? I would a friendly amendment add that.
Right. Was that your intent, Mr. Shada?
Absolutely. I believe that was the clerk's specifications, so we can include that in the motion.
Okay, so the motion is to approve this contingent upon it getting a final inspection approved by the city clerk once the construction is completed.
Exactly.
Okay, you're good with that? Okay, so we motion second. Any further discussion? Okay, let's vote. Councillor Wolf, how do you vote?
In favor.
Thank you.
We have 7-0 in favor.
Great. Very good. Thank you. The liquor license application is approved contingent upon it getting a final inspection approved by the city clerk. Okay, thank you. Okay. All right. Item 2, a public hearing and consideration of an application for a new hotel and restaurant liquor license at 341 Manitou Avenue, Westside Trio Incorporated, doing business as Uncle Sam's Pancake House, Pamela and William Schenkel applicants. I hope I pronounced that right. Great. And we just need a minute here. You'll go on vacation tomorrow, Judy. It'll be easier. Okay.
Sorry about that. Okay. Thank you, Mayor and Council. So our next applicant, and this is for a new hotel and restaurant liquor license, is Westside Trio Inc., doing business as Uncle Sam's Pancake House. And they made application on June 21st. They're located at 341 Manitou Avenue. And just a reminder, a hotel and restaurant license is issued to persons selling alcohol beverages in the place where the alcohol beverages are to be consumed. And in order for this approval, the code requires an applicant to participate in a public hearing before the local licensing authority. So the status of the application, the full application is on file with the city clerk's office and may be obtained by request by the council. I have had no requests. The application, diagram of premises, proof of possession, lease agreement, sales tax license, Secretary of State summary of business status, good standing, and background information and evidence of support, which is a support needs petition and report, were included with the application. So the application, like I said, was submitted June 21st. The applicant was identified as Westside Trio Inc., and the owners being Pamela Schenkel and William Schenkel. The diagram of premises was also presented. It includes the kitchen, seating, dining area, liquor storage area with potential additional liquor storage identified, lobby and outdoor patio as the premises perimeter. The proof of possession, I did receive a lease agreement, which is dated June 19th, 2023, and the term of that is June 19th, 2023 through June 18th of 2024 for the commercial restaurant space located at 341 Manitou Avenue. The location has not been denied a liquor license for needs or desires within the past 2 years. It's not within the distance limitations of a school. The Manitou Springs Police have not identified this general location as too dense with liquor licenses that it would create a law enforcement issue if one was granted. The sales tax license is was provided, the articles of incorporation and bylaws, the Secretary of State certificate of goods, fact and good standing, then the West Side Trio was formed and registered on 6/26/2002. So they've been operating for quite a while. Background information was submitted, and that was for the two owners. The evidence of support and need, it's up to the council as the liquor licensing authority to review the evidence that's submitted by the applicant. They did have a petition circulated, and the petition summary indicated that contact was attempted on July 24th of this year and July 25th. And the results statistics were provided as follows. There were 16 business survey results, and those were all in favor, a yes. There were 13 yes in favor residential survey results and 1 no. And there is that comment was included in the petition information that I provided as well, why they said no. So a total of 30 signatures were obtained on the petition. The notice of public hearing was noticed by poster at the premises on June 30th, as well as the legal notice in the newspaper, which was published July 14th. And both of those notices met or exceeded the 10-day standard in the liquor code. The applicant was sent a hearing notice on June 30th. It was mailed, and background checks were done. A summary of those results. Pamela Schinkel, her background check was conducted and there was no criminal history. The background check on William Schinkel was conducted and there was a response back. I did indicate that that response was from 26 and 31 years ago, and that council's consideration of this should be whether there's evidence of rehabilitation. I would think if, 26 years have happened and this business has been successful for as long as it has, that should be considered by council as evidence of rehabilitation. So obligation and authority of the liquor licensing authority. The council is in the role of the LLA. You're obligated to conduct a needs and desires hearing, which is what we're doing tonight. And the applicant has the burden to provide evidence in the affirmative that the needs and desires of the neighborhood are not met with the issuance, would be met with the issuance of the proposed license. And let's see, the hearing. The Manitou Springs Liquor Licensing Authority has ruled that in addition to parties in interest, as defined by the liquor code, which is the 100-foot distance, all Manitou Springs residents and or business owners shall be considered parties in interest and will be permitted to participate in the hearing. I have not received any communication from anyone in the public on this particular liquor license. Once again, it was posted that they could contact me, reach out to me by the 27th. 5 p.m. and we received no correspondence. And as a conclusion, the council as the local licensing authority should make a decision based on the evidence presented at the hearing. So with that, if there's any questions from council.
Nancy, you have a question?
I'm just curious at one thing, and it's not critical to my decision tonight, but could you read the gentleman that said no on the petition? Could you read what the reason?
Sure.
You may not be able to read it either. I was just wondering if anyone else could.
Yeah, it just looks like it's numbers or something. I'm not really sure.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah,
Again,
sorry.
It doesn't really have much of a
Yeah.
bearing, so I was given that it was
Somebody
only
who
one. So.
wasn't happy about it for some reason.
Okay, council, any other questions at this point for Judy?
I have a question.
Okay, Julie?
What was the criminal charge?
That's not something, I was hoping that if there was a question about that, and I did put that in my report, that that could have been asked not at a public meeting. Like I said, I know in the past, I've been able to just show it to a council member when they wanted to see it. I believe it was you, Councilor Wolf, at the physical meeting, physically at the meeting. But I am not comfortable stating, what was on that criminal, what that was specifically in a public meeting.
Mr. Parker is not present tonight. I think my sense of things from the past is that this is not something we would share in a public meeting.
Correct.
This would be disclosed only confidentially.
Exactly.
In writing. So I think I'm going to disallow that question. I hope you understand, Councilor Wolf.
I do, thank you.
Great. Anything else? Okay, we can always call Judy back later. Thank you, Judy.
Thank you.
All right, at this point, I'd like to ask Pamela and William Schenkel to come forward. If you'll introduce yourselves and give us your address. I guess probably take the residential address. We know where the business is.
I'm sorry, what?
If you give us your residential address, we know where the business is. So.
Okay. Pamela Schenkel.
Okay, and I'll ask you, for all of you, when you speak, try and be about 3 inches away from the microphone. Okay, this is all being recorded. You're live on TV, but in order for us to hear you and for it to be recorded properly, about 3 inches from the microphone. So you lift it up and pull it towards you. You can adjust it as flexible.
Okay. Pamela Schenkel.
Even a little more.
9860 Fountain Road, Cascade,
Okay.
Colorado.
Thank you.
William Schenkel, 9860 Fountain Road.
Okay. And if you could, if you'll introduce yourself, sir, and what your relationship is.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. My name is Vince Linden. I'm a registered Colorado attorney. I assisted the Schenkels with their application and submission of the application to the city of Manitou. And I'm here on their behalf tonight through their company, Westside Trio Inc., which is the applicant doing business as Uncle Sam's Pancake House. I'm happy to have Ms. Schenkel, who is prepared to testify, as is Mr. Schenkel. We can do a short back and forth if you'd like. I don't know if you want them sworn in, or I'm also happy to give you an offer of proof as to what their testimony would be.
I think this being a small town, in the spirit of a small town, if you just want to tell us what you want to do, what you hope to accomplish, and why you're doing it, make the case as to why this serves the community. That's really what we need to hear.
We keep getting requests from customers, as they're dining with us, that they would like to have liquor, the option to have something. And so we just wanted to enhance our business by providing this added feature.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Schenkel, would you like to add on?
Just so we can stay lucrative and stay in business in Manitou.
Okay.
And it would help us immensely.
Okay, great. Thank you. I guess if your attorney would like to make some comments, if you'd like to fill in some key points or whatnot, then I'll give counsel the opportunity to ask questions. That might be a little more efficient tonight. So, sir, if you'd like to go ahead.
Sure, and I appreciate the small town forum. We are in a quasi-administrative hearing, so if you'll forgive me for putting some things on the record. Your city clerk did a fantastic job. She was wonderful to work with during the submission process, and that's not always the case with local government entities. Westside Trio is the applicant. It's a Colorado corporation in good standing with the Colorado Secretary of State's office. It has 2 shareholders, Mr. and Mrs. Schenkel, who are present at the podium to my right. They're both officers and directors of the company. They're married. They hold 50% interests in the company each. No other person has an indirect or direct financial interest in their company. The address of the proposed licensed premises is 341 Manitou Avenue. They have possession of the premises by way of a lease agreement, which they did themselves for purposes of applying for the liquor license because they actually own the building joint tenant together, in joint tenancy together. So we were required to force them to do a lease agreement for the first time and submit that to you. They are the landlords, and Westside Trio Inc. is the tenant. The application indicates their age. They're both lifelong residents of this area. As Ms. Morgan told you, Mr. Schinkel has a positive criminal history from 1997. I did not catch the one from 31 years ago. 1997 would be 26 years ago. So I did run my own background check on Mr. Schinkel and caught a criminal history from 1997. I will tell you for purposes of the record that it was a misdemeanor. And I do not think legally, I'm not your attorney, but I think he would tell you that you can't take that into consideration from 26 years ago, particularly given the fact that he's a lifelong resident here. And as Ms. Morgan has indicated, has run this business successfully for 21 years. Ms. Schinkel, obviously, as indicated by Ms. Morgan, has no criminal history. I believe that Mr. Schinkel and Mrs. Schinkel have established that they're persons of good moral character. They have the ability to operate this business according to law. Ms. Schinkel and I have gone through the pertinent provisions of the Colorado Liquor Code, including the most important provision that you can't sell to a minor, you can't sell to a visibly intoxicated person. If you receive a liquor license, the law requires you to keep your books and records on site and available for inspection by law enforcement, particularly the purchases of alcohol. Alcohol must be purchased from a wholesale distributor. There's a $2,000 a year exception to that, but they will abide by the liquor code. If they have any questions as to its application, they're welcome to call me on my cell phone at any time. They're aware that the Colorado and local Manitou ordinances with regards to the sale and service of alcohol are online and available. They have stipulated with me, and I do this with all my clients, to attend a certified training program that's conducted by liquor licensing professionals. I'm pointing behind me because Eva Gerritsen is here from Liquor Licensing Professionals. Her company conducted the survey that Ms. Morgan testified to. Liquor Licensing Professionals holds a Colorado Responsible Vendors Act approved certification to conduct a class, which they'll actually come to Uncle Sam's and teach all of the trainers. I did catch in your ordinances, I wasn't aware of this, I hope I didn't misinterpret it, but it appeared that your ordinances require servers to be 21 years of age or older. I informed the Schinkels of that requirement, though the Colorado Code allows 18-year-olds in restaurants to serve alcohol if they're supervised by an on-site manager that's over 21, but it is their intent to only allow service by 21-year-olds. The Schinkels are the owners, but it's a family-run restaurant. Both their son and daughter also work at the location. They are requesting permission to serve alcohol in their outdoor patio. If you're familiar with the location, which I just drove by on my way here, the outdoor patio fronts Manitou Avenue. There is no exit. The gate is locked. There's nowhere to go with an alcoholic beverage. They'll put a sign up that indicates where alcohol is not permitted beyond particular egress points at the location. What else? They understand that any substantive modifications to the premises must be approved through the local licensing authority. They understand that an alcohol license is only available, or only the duration is only for one year, and that you must submit an application to renew within 45 days of expiration. We've talked about vertical identification cards that are issued to minors in the state of Colorado under the age of 21. I've suggested to them, and they have agreed that they will not accept vertical ID cards, even if the person's ID indicates that they're over the age of 21. And we've talked about the basis for that. We've also talked about the basis that I'm not a Colorado liquor license holder, but I've done 300 or 400 liquor licenses in my career. And I hate it when I get a call from a client that just was involved in a sting and one of their employees sold to a minor. So really, I just hope that all of my clients, and I'm sure the Schinkels will abide by this going forward, they'll request your identification. Clearly, we're all 21 here, but I think it's a good policy not to allow any discretion whatsoever. Are we good? Not to allow discretion, that if you ask for an alcoholic beverage, then you must have a valid form of identification on you. There's 7 different forms of valid identification in the state of Colorado. They're going to accept Colorado driver's licenses, state issued identification cards, and military IDs, and that's it. They won't deliver alcohol. They won't allow alcohol to leave the premises. They won't sell more than 1 drink per person per valid ID. And I asked the same question that you've asked of Ms. Schinkel, why are you seeking this license? And she said, frankly, we've had through the years many requests for alcohol at the location. They're open for breakfast and lunch, I believe from 7 to 2. And so they're finally making the investment to do that. And I'd ask that you consider that Ms. Garrettson, who is also present and available to testify to the survey results if you have any questions for her, but she operates an independent third-party survey company, and the Schinkels retained her company to conduct the survey, so they didn't do it themselves. There's no bias inherent in the survey whatsoever. Ms. Morgan and I had many discussions with regards to the distance prohibition from the school. I did a Google flyby location drive and did not see the school and did not realize it was up the hill. So there was some discussion on whether or not, as the crow flies, it was within 500 feet of the school, but it's really about half a mile walking distance. And the city attorney has determined that it's not within the prohibition of the school distance requirement. So if you have any questions, the Schinkels are prepared to answer them for you. If you have any questions from me, I do the best I can too.
Okay, council, I'll open up to questions. If anyone has anything? Julie, do you have any questions?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Okay. I think we're satisfied, at least for the moment. So yeah, we appreciate your comments and ask you to take your seats again. We'll do the public comment. Thank you. So at this point, I'll declare the public comment portion of this hearing to be open. So if there's anyone who'd like to speak to this, this is the time to do it. Is anyone interested in speaking for or against? If not, I'll close the public comment portion. Council, I know this seems to be a fairly abbreviated or fairly simple case, but certainly we have the opportunity to call the applicants back and ask questions first, and we'd call them back first. And then if we have anything we want to clarify with Judy, we can do that. So council, I'll ask what's your pleasure? Do you have any questions for either party? I'm seeing heads shake. Julie, do you need to hear from either the applicant or from Judy?
No, I think the presentation was very thorough, but thank you.
Good, thank you. In that case, I think we're at a point where we could seek a motion. Judith?
I move to approve application for a new hotel and restaurant liquor license at 341 Manitou Avenue, Westside Trio, Inc., DBA Uncle Sam's Pancake House, Pamela and William Schinkel applicants.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Fortune. Do we have any comments? I would like to make a comment, and I think this goes back a couple of years. I know my wife and I were it was a fundraising benefit dinner at the Community Congregational Church. It was a dinner and an auction. And in order for the members of the congregation to participate, Uncle Sam's Pancake House provided the wait staff that night. And it was a Saturday night. And I was impressed because these were all young people and they were all happy and gracious. And I thought they've got to get up early and work tomorrow because Sunday's a big day down there. So I thought that was a nice gesture of community support. So that's something that counts, I think, in a small town. Any further discussion? Let's vote. Councilor Wolf, how do you vote?
I vote in favor.
Thank you.
We have 7-0 in favor.
Great, thank you. Liquor license is approved. Thank you very much. The next item, public hearing and second reading of ordinance number 1023, an ordinance amending the budget for the fiscal year 2023. And we have our finance director, Becca Davis. Becky, you've got the floor.
Thank you. Good evening, Becca Davis, Finance Director. This is the second reading for the amended 2023 budget, and there are two changes from the first reading. The first change is that the police station remodel, which is in the capital improvements fund, has been increased by 50,000. So it's now at 350,000. And this is to make it so that we can provide a 50% grant match for a grant that the city is applying for. And then the other change is that in the mobility and parking enterprise fund, under the bar trail expenditures, that it's increased by 50,000 to provide funding for striping Ruxton Avenue. And those are the only two changes. Everything else should be about the same. And with these changes, the ending general fund unassigned fund balance is forecasted to be $6,507,000. And are there any questions?
Council, any questions? Judith?
Yeah, I have a budget 101 question. So
Sure.
If we were not to get that DOLA grant for the police station remodel, does that $50,000 go back into the general fund? How does that work?
Well, we'd probably bring it back to city council saying we didn't get the grant. Here we do have the 350,000 budgeted. What is your decision at this point? Do we increase things? Will we address it at that time?
I thought that was the case. I just was wondering if that's an automatic transfer back, into the.
No, once it's put in there, then it's in there. But if we don't get the grant, then we come back to you.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments? Julie, do you have anything?
I'm just curious about the DOLA grant is for.
The DOLA grant? Are we talking about the 350 for the police remodel? Because that is a DOLA grant that the city is going for.
Okay, I was under the impression that the budget was being increased for some kind of DOLA grant related to the remodel, but if it's just to help pay for the remodel, that's fine.
Exactly.
Any other questions from council? Denise, do you have any comments?
No, I don't. Just great job to Becca and all her hard work to put this together along with an audit. So good job, Becca.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, we've talked about, of course, this second coming up on second reading. So we will need to have a public hearing. But if the council has any additional questions you'd like to ask at this time, that'd be fine. If not, we can always bring Becca back. It's my sense is that we probably won't get a lot in the way of public comment. So, okay. Becca, thank you. If you'll stand by for a little bit here. And this being second reading and a public hearing, I'll declare the public comment portion open. If there's anyone who'd like to speak to this. Seems there isn't anyone, so we'll close public comment. Council, I guess it's time for discussion, and if somebody'd like to entertain a motion, that'd be fine too, I think.
I move approval of ordinance 1023.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Okay, any further discussion? Okay, let's go ahead and vote. Councilor Wolf, how do you vote?
I vote to approve.
Thank you.
We have 7-0 in favor.
Okay, great. Thank you. Very good. Becca, thank you for all the hard work. We now have 2 more liquor license places in Manitou, so theoretically you could get a drink to celebrate. Okay, moving right along, we have item I1, resolution number 1823, a resolution of the City of Manitou Springs, Colorado, authorizing the purchase of certain real property within El Paso County El Paso County Assessor parcel number of 7409100003. And then we have from OSAC, from the Open Space Advisory Committee, we have the chair, Tim Beeson. Good evening, Tim. Middle button there, and the light should go green. That's the physics major model. And if you'll give us your address, Tim.
27 Sandra Lane, Manitou Springs, Colorado. And this is another fun one. It's kind of nice to come in here and suggest we purchase pieces of property that are really a good value for us. So this one, Shannon Solomon came across, Shannon and TJ Maltese came across, and it's a piece of property that runs between the Bill Bauer Park and another piece of Manitou Springs open space that'll give us access from Bill Bauer Park all the way down to the bottom of Crystal Hills Boulevard. So there's not a lot more to say about that, except that Shannon approached the owner, Larry Rose, one of the owners, Larry and his wife, and they said that they were interested. OSAC voted to offer $10,000 on this. It's a 3-acre parcel right in the middle of Crystal Hills. And the Roses accepted that. And hopefully I'm not breaking the rules here. Should we be in executive session or something like that? Huh?
You're fine, Tim. We're acting on a resolution now, and it's good to have this clarifying information. So I mean, the intent of negotiation and stuff, we have a deal on the table. So I think we're good.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure where those lines are drawn. So
okay.
But anyway, it's it's a 3-acre piece of property. It is all very steep, but it also contains a large part of the creek that runs a creek that runs down from there, and it's a beautiful little valley. So
great, good, thank you. Council, do we have any questions for Mr. Beeson? Nancy?
Just a comment. I just say kudos to TJ and Shannon if they're the ones who negotiated this, because this has been a long-term vision for folks to get this trail, and this just gets us one big step closer to it. So good job.
Yep.
Other questions or comments? Julie, do you have anything?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Well, this is fairly straightforward. Denise, city staff have any input on this?
Nope. We're ready to close on the property as soon as you approve the resolution.
Okay. Well, I guess I'd look for a motion to approve. Everybody over here raised their hand about the same time, or else my eyes are slow. Michelle, why don't we motion by you and second from Nancy?
I move that we pass resolution number 1823, a resolution of the City of Manitou Springs, Colorado, authorizing the purchase of certain real property within an El Paso County Assessor parcel number of 74091000003.
Second.
And seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Fortune. Okay, any further discussion? Let's vote. Councilor Wolf, how do you vote?
I vote in favor.
Thank you.
And we have 7-0 in favor.
Great, thank you. Tim, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next item is resolution number 2123, a resolution of the city of Manitou Springs, Colorado, accepting the donation of certain real property with an El Paso County assessor parcel number of 7406200005.
Mayor, this is mine, and I'll just speak briefly about it. Mr. Klein called me and asked if the city would be interested in this donation. It is very close to our water tank. I sent it out to our staff, planning, Parks and Rec, and Public Works, and they all supported and agreed that we should accept this donation. It will help with our security around the water tank, et cetera. So I'm asking permission to, by approval of the resolution, to go ahead and move forward with this donation.
Okay, thank you. Council, any questions or comments for Denise? Donation is a nice word, isn't it? Ties in with our plans. Julie, did you have anything?
No, thank you.
Okay. I think it seems to be pretty well satisfied. Look for a motion. Nancy?
I move to approve resolution number 2123, a resolution of the city of Manitou Springs, Colorado, accepting the donation of certain real property with an El Paso County assessor parcel number of 7406200005.
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilor Chandler. Any further discussion? Okay, let's vote.
Counselor Wolf,
Oh, Councilor Wolf, how do you vote?
I vote in favor.
Great, thank you.
we have 7-0 in favor.
Okay, great. Thank you. The resolution is adopted and the city has come into a little bit more land. Good. Very good. Thank you. Next item, to receive or act on council correspondence. Does anyone have anything? Judith and then Nancy.
I'm sure that the city administrator will also be commenting on this, but I just wanted to say kudos to the city for their response for the rain / flood / mudslide throughout our town. I walked around Fields Park, an area of El Paso and Beckers today, and saw so many city trucks out there removing mud. And I just, I can't say thank you enough for the rapid response. And obviously our emergency system works and it was tested yesterday, and appreciate that. That's all I've got.
Thank you. Nancy?
Thanks. First, I wanted to talk about Day of Friendship, which I'd also thought was really good. And I think folks had a great time, and it's grown immensely over the 3 years it's been in place. And the one thing, I heard a lot of thank yous on Saturday to a lot of people who participated and supported. But if staff was thanked that day, I missed it. And staff really did a lot for it as well. And so thanks to them on that count as well. Secondly, I was at the URA board meeting the other morning, and one of the issues that came up was, what is the relationship of the city with the planters, the big planters now, and how it was a agreement with Crane and with Becca gone. So it's just unclear, I think, how those planters are going to be used / maintained in the future. That I think needs to be just worked out in some form or fashion. Secondly, I went to the Housing Advisory Board meeting last week, and they've done, at the city's request, a lot of research on the inclusionary zoning code. And they will be coming forth with next month at their next meeting. They're putting together a written recommendation for what they think should or should not be supported with the inclusionary zoning. So I thought they did a very nice job on that. So that's all I've got. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Michelle, while we're on that side of the table, you don't have anything, okay? How about over here? Natalie?
I went to the Mobility and Parking Board meeting last week, and it's the first time they met since February, and it's a great group. They worked really well with Roy and Kevin. Kevin gave great updates, and so I think they're excited and ready to help us out and further mobility. So I just wanted to kind of mention that and support staff in their role in getting them activated and working together again.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Mr. Shada? Nothing? Okay. I don't have too much. I would like to commend city staff. I got home kind of late last night from a meeting and it was a war zone getting home. So when the sun came up, I expected the streets to be pretty beat up. And the city crews had already gotten out and cleaned up Canyon Avenue, which had, I think, taken a beating last night. So I was impressed at how fast they got on it, and they did a good job. And also on the Day of Friendship, they were working pretty hard. They were having a good time, so I was glad to see that too. But it was a good day. So kudos. Denise, do you have anything? Oh, sorry, Julie. Do you have anything, Julie? Julie, do you have anything?
Oh, thank you for unmuting me. I have nothing. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Denise?
Yeah, I also just want to say, I think last night was a great testament to our staff and what they can do. And I will tell you, if we needed to evacuate last night, it was well planned. We had everybody at the right place and it was 100% ready to move if needed. They did a phenomenal job. They ensured that everybody was taken care of. We worked with the school district. So I want to shout out to the school district. They opened up the gym for us, but it was very well done. This morning, they were out very early. They had already planned what needed to be cleaned. And if you went down Avenue, I think you can say all of our stormwater cleaning and all of our culverts cleaning has paid off. And you could tell a difference this year from 3 years ago. So shout out to all of staff for what they did.
Great, thank you. Very good. Okay, well, our last item of business is an executive session. So I'll go ahead and read that. I'll seek a motion going into executive session, and then we'll have a few minutes. Let's take a quick break, and then after that, and we'll come back for the executive session. So an executive session for the purposes of determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing a strategy for negotiations, and instructing negotiators pursuant to section 5.1D of the Manitou Springs Municipal Charter concerning the Pikes Peak Library District. Do I have a motion for executive session?
So moved.
And do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion is second. Let's vote. And Councilor Wolf will not be able to participate in this.
So 6-0 in favor.
6-0. Okay. All right. So let's take a few minutes here. We'll take a quick break. And I've got 7:03. Let's start the executive session at 7:10. Thank you. Julie, thank you. I guess we'll see you next week.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good time.